Hey guys, it's me. I know I don't usually show my face in these videos, but I wanted to jump in here and say, I wanted to jump in here and look at the designs for these characters because I did not do a design piece for these. I just did sketches in my sketchbook and then I went straight into the finished illustration, which I like a lot better because I felt like it was a lot easier to jump into the illustration, and I felt like I like this illustration a lot better because it's less stiff than the last one was. So let's actually talk about the designs. First off, I wanted each of the designs to be pretty different and make sense for each of the characters. So that meant like each of them have their own colors, like Teddy's tail is going to be yellow because his color is yellow. Thea's is going to be green because her color is green. Stuff like that. But I also wanted to add shape language into the designs as well, using their tails and other things, such as Val's tail is very narrow and pretty spiky tail-esque, whereas I gave Chris a ribbon tail. So it's a lot more flowy, nicer, and different. So each of them have a different tail, each of them have a different design. I also tried to bring a different element of their personality into their clothing as well. I gave Thea her iconic vest because I felt like I just had to. And I gave Teddy a full covering of seaweed that goes from his neck all the way to his forearms and down to his waist. And that is for reasons that I'm not going to tell you, but just know that it is story related. So that is related to the comic, and I cannot tell you about that, but I did add that in. So his design is like that. I also made his tail flatter for reasons. I also gave them all side fins and arm fins, except for Thea. Thea does not get those for reasons. Also, within these reasons, their tails are also all different lengths. And this has to do with their souls. So does the arm thing. So does having the extra fins. So there is a reason why Teddy and Chris have much longer tails than Val and Thea, and why Thea doesn't have any fins. But I'm not going to tell you why, but let's just say at the end of this season, Val's tail is going to get a little longer. Let's just say that. You'll find out what the tails mean at the end of the season. But yeah, that's all I have to say up front. I'll jump into the voiceover. Alright, it is the MerMay video. I designed all of my cast as mermaids for this video. It was really fun. I really like the color scheme. I like how this piece came out in general. It's very nice. But let's talk about it. I already talked mostly about the designs in general already, but I would just like to say, for one, I accidentally forgot to film all the colors. But what you'll see is that I added gradients to all of their tails. So that I added gradients to all of their tails, so that they would all be pretty unique. I also kind of went wild with the scales. It was really fun to do, actually, making all of them have a lot of scales on their faces, and some like sneaking up their stomachs where their tails connect. And I also liked the fins, tried to do the fins properly. You'll see on Teddy's, I tried to do like a transparent fin for his arm one, but the skin tone and the tone that I was trying to use for the fin were so close that it just looked really clashy, so I ended up stopping, and I just gave up. But yeah, I did keep all of the colors the same as usual, where they're all having their theme colors. Val is purple, Thea is green, Chris is blue, and Teddy is yellow. I would just like to say that specifically, Chris has a specific more cyan blue than like a more rich blue, and that is important because I'm going to do the color wheel challenge for all of my characters eventually, but I need a couple more of them to be introduced first. But after that, you will be doing a color wheel challenge. Although there is still many characters that will not be introduced till a lot later, or at least won't become important till a lot later. However, I also tried to make them have different colors for each of their tops to correspond with their color schemes and like the ocean setting. So Teddy, Thea, and Val all have different shades of green for their tops. And Chris's red scarf is a lot more muted because I wanted it to look like it was made of something you'd find underwater, like some red algae is what it's made of. And then all of the other ones have different shades of green for their outfits. I made Val's a lot closer to blue. Thea's is a lot darker, and Penny's is a lot more yellow, just to bring out all of their colors and their corresponding colors and things. I really like this illustration. I think it turned out pretty well. What you see me doing right now is the background for it. I worked away at this for a while. It took me a bit to work on the background. I also had to. The background was one of my favorite parts. I just kind of worked on it a lot until it looked alright, until it looked decent. I used the watercolor brush to do all of the background, most of all the blending out, and I also used it for to do the gradients. And you'll see I use it a little bit later when I do all the shading for this piece in the next section. Doing all of the designs for the actual composition. I like this composition, it's pretty nice. I have the light coming down from above, and I have Chris pulling Teddy up toward the sky, where Thea is kind of balled up in the bottom right corner. She's kind of looking up, probably jealous because she's jealous. And Val up at the top, falling down because he's probably asleep. I felt like he would be pretty peaceful and emo here. It's just very chilled out. Maybe a little bit too chilled out. As I mentioned before, Val has the shortest tail, and that totally was not just me trying to cope with the idea of this composition not working. But I will say that eventually, within the comic, all three of them will have the same length of tail and the same amount of fins. So yeah. This is also me just trying to play around with the idea of how to design mermaids, because I have a project that I want to do that involves mermaids. So, that'll happen eventually, maybe. I don't know. You see, I've told you this before, I forgot to do the colors on camera. Also, forgot to do the overlay on camera as well. I did this lovely blue overlay so that all of the colors would be pretty, cohesive, and they'd make sense in the dark blue background. So they're underwater, so I did a filter over it that made it look like they were underwater. And I do like how that turned out. And then now I'm just adding the finishing touches of some highlights, and then I'll do the shading. Anyway, that is all. I just kind of laid down the colors on certain places to make it look like, there's a lot of light hitting it. That's basically it. I do like how this piece turned out. I wish you would have been able to see me color it, but you did see me line it, so that's good enough, I guess. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any suggestions for another challenge like this, then drop that down in the comments below, and I might do it for the next one. I want to do one of these each month, so I'll see what I can do for June. Thank you guys so much for watching. I said that already. Bye-bye.